Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Inside the Force. Dave Cottingham here with this week. I've got Hannah Burr with me. How are you, Hannah?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. Back at it again with you, but not for Beyond the Saga, right? Doing a
Right.
little weekly Inside the Force. We took a little bit of a break last week off. Got a lot of news to catch up on. A lot of stuff actually has been released over the last couple of weeks, especially today, which we will get into. Major exciting news today, and I definitely wanted Hannah on for that because I'm glad we actually waited to record a little bit till this came out. So this is going to be one of our big topics. We're gonna dive a little bit more into the games side of things from Lucasfilm. You know, they promised us a lot of games, and it looks like that stuff's going to start rolling out here soon. We've got a lot of news to get into, but please, real quick, obviously, just keep supporting us and supporting the channel. And we're on all the podcast feeds and on YouTube with this show, Inside the Force. Hannah and I knock out Beyond the Saga. We've got a couple new ones brewing that we're going to be talking about very shortly. Got some council sessions in the works. So please go check that out, insidetheforce.com, and get all that stuff. Okay. So, Hannah, lots of news this week and last week. First off, I want to hit on some live action show news, and that goes around the next live action show that's going to be hitting us this December, which is the Book of Boba Fett. Now, we haven't actually talked a lot about that on the show. But I know you're excited about it. And of course, another person that's very excited about it is Robert Rodriguez, who's been highly involved in the creation of this as executive producer and in directing a few episodes. Now, he's responsible for directing the episode that brought Boba Fett back in The Mandalorian, right? So he was interviewed recently saying that that basically we're going to be blown away by this show. So he's saying, I don't care if it sounds like I'm overhyping this thing. I am going to overhype this thing. People are going to get blown away. It's awesome. So I guess, how do you react to that? And are you as excited as he sounds like he is for this show?
I mean, for me personally, I try not to read so many articles that give an opinionated point of view on a show because I like to walk in as open-minded as possible.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's a mixed reaction. Part of me is very excited because it's like, great. One of the people who, is really into this project is super excited about it to the point that they say, I don't care if it's overhyped, it's still going to blow you away. So part of me is like, oh, that's awesome. That means it's going to be great. The other part of me is like, but is it really? It just, for me, there's a dual reaction going on. Of course, I want it to be great. Boba Fett is such a fantastic character. I'm glad we got to learn more about him, especially in the Clone Wars. To me, he was a bit of a slightly underrated character in the original trilogy. So the fact that we get to learn more about him is absolutely fantastic. But when you hear someone who's so close to the project saying, I don't care if it's overhyped, it's going to be amazing, not only does that bring excitement, but it brings a little bit of hesitation, if that makes sense.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
What about you?
A little bit of hesitation, huh? Hesitation on what? Your excitement for it?
Well, no, it's just that, sometimes someone like in the industry we're both in, you're so involved in a project that you've been working on since the beginning.
Yeah.
And you think it's absolutely amazing because you've poured all of your heart and soul into it.
Yeah, true.
But then other people watch it and then they tear it apart.
Yeah. So and I think it's definitely going to get torn apart. I think, I think Boba Fett, like you said, is such it's crazy. He's such a popular character for being so little on screen.
Yes.
Right? he became so popular by just those little moments. And I think the thought has been like with him is people envisioned how he is and what he does. And that is almost like the hype of Boba Fett. Like, oh, he's the baddest bounty hunter in the galaxy. We haven't
Oh,
actually seen it, but I think the reputation is what really has made him so popular. And plus, he looks cool because he's the first one we've seen in that Mandalorian outfit, right?
yeah.
So I think that comes with, a big expectation that fans have had for a show like this. Like we want to see Boba Fett in action. Now, unfortunately, he's a little older than he was in the original trilogy, but it's not that. I mean, it's not that much older. He's supposed to only be about 5 years older.
Right.
But I think we've all been wanting something from Boba Fett like this. There's old Legends books and Legends comics and stuff like that. So I think that kind of helped with the character's popularity. But I think this is going to really, I hate to say it, make or break the character. Because now there are rumors that there's going to be flashbacks, and I think that is a good idea because, again, it'd be good to see him in his prime back in the early trilogy time.
Yes.
But of course, we're going to have to see what he's doing now, which is, the plot details are rumored to be that he's going out there and hunting down people that wronged him in the past, basically like what we saw him blow away Bib Fortuna, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think I think that's a good point you said. Robert's probably basing his opinion on how much he's involved, obviously, in the project, how much he's put into it. And of course he's excited about it. And I think, but even though I haven't always been a fan of his stuff. He has done a couple of like kids movies because he's had his kids kind of influence him on some of these things. But he has done some good visual movies like
Yes.
Sin City, obviously. But I loved From Dusk Till Dawn, the movie he did years ago with Clooney and Tarantino. Anyway, I think he's a good director. I think he's working closely with Favreau and Filoni. I think that they're obviously still influencing this. I mean, this has been dubbed Mandalorian 2.5, season 2.5. So I think it's going to feel very much like Mandalorian still. So I think with the combination of that, I think we're going to have a really good show.
I hope so. I sincerely hope so. A lot of people are looking forward to this, so I hope when he says, I don't care if it's overhyped, he genuinely means it and it isn't overhyped.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think a lot is gonna obviously hinder also on whatever first footage we see of this thing. Which has got to be soon. I mean, this thing comes out in 3 months.
Hope so.
So yeah, so I think, and that's a whole nother conversation. I feel like, I think we've mentioned this a few times, but I feel like Lucasfilm is delaying their marketing so much these days. Like they're not. I remember the time when, and I think not just them. I think a lot of studios are doing this. I remember trailers hitting theaters a year before movies come out.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, but I wonder if part of it is due to COVID because
I think this started before, because even like Solo wasn't marketed until like a month before it came out.
That is true.
Which I think was what hurt it. I think hurt it a little bit.
Yeah.
But because there was some fallout from Last Jedi too a little bit, but Last Jedi came out in December, And then they had this solo coming out in May, and they didn't start marketing that thing until March or April. And it just seems like like Mandalorian last year. I mean, the season 2 trailer didn't come out till I think it was September or something like that, and it
That,
premiered in November. So it's like
hmm.
I just feel like they're delaying their marketing too much. Like we should be seeing something from it right now,
Yeah,
and just getting people hyped for this thing.
absolutely. No doubt. Hopefully within the next week, we'll see something.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. There's nothing really. I mean, there's no, the Star Wars Visions show is debuting, but that's debuting on Disney Plus. So
Yeah.
there's nothing like you putting it into a theater. I mean, you had Shang-Chi, which is a Disney movie that just came out, but that didn't have anything on it. And
No,
and should you put trailers like that, Disney Plus trailers, in theaters? Why not? I don't know.
it would be very smart if they did that.
Right?
I mean, I didn't know that Shang-Chi was out in theaters until I took my car to get some work done on it. And I looked at the TV and all of a sudden I'm like, wait, it's in theaters now?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's good too. I saw it already.
Oh, I need to see it.
It's really good. Yeah. So anyway, Book of Boba Fett hitting December. We still don't know an exact date yet. I think the trailer or the end of season 2 of Mandalorian said Christmas, so probably sometime towards the end of December. Book of Boba Fett, and hopefully we see a trailer or something coming soon for that. Next thing, before we get into some of these games, let's see. There was a trailer that came out for a Halloween special, the Lego special that's hitting Disney Plus in October. It's called Star Wars Terrifying Tales. Did you see the Christmas one? I guess you saw the Christmas.
I did see the
special,
Christmas
yeah.
one.
What do you think of this? What do you think of this?
I mean, the thing is that when it comes to these, you can't take them incredibly seriously. You know what I
True.
mean?
Yeah.
Like, take it with a grain of salt. So I'm just excited because I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to poke fun at itself because I know that they did Light Day for Christmas. I think it was last year or the year before that. They did a Lego movie that was about Light Day.
Life Day. Yeah.
Life Day, yeah.
Life Day. Yeah.
And it totally poked fun at itself the entire time. So
yes.
I'm looking forward to that, to see how they will make fun of themselves, but also sort of create their own unique story.
Yeah, the Lego stuff they're always good. I feel like I remember when the Yoda Chronicles came out and the Droid Tales came out. I mean, I do like them. I do enjoy them. I think they're good little stories. It's funny because I feel like they do try to canonize them, but canonize them in a very comedic way, like you said.
Oh yeah.
Obviously the Legos, but yeah, it's pretty cool that they've decided to produce content like this that's Lego related. I mean, Legos just massive. I mean, it's like one of them things where I don't think people realize, maybe they do. I mean, Legos are expensive and that company has to make so much money, and they got a great hold on, especially with this kind of content, like these shorts and then like the Lego movie and stuff like that. So Star Wars and Lego, they haven't stopped. I remember Lego, and Star Wars came out with that Freemaker series that was a 2 seasons that's on Disney Plus now too. So it's like they're constantly making stuff for this. Now this is a one-off thing, but yeah, I like how they're doing these holiday things. It's pretty neat. I think it's pretty neat.
It just keeps things fresh and fun.
Yes. Yeah, and obviously it hits on every age range, right? I mean, you're hitting the kids and the people like us that know the storylines and see where they're making fun of things and stuff like that. So yeah, it's It's cool. Anyway, that's coming out in October. I think it actually hits Disney Plus October 1st. So watch that. Let's see. Just a quick side. Did you see the Star Wars Visions poster that just dropped? I think that dropped today, actually, for the first
I
time.
am so excited for this. You have no idea. It's going to be amazing. Just the fact that there are different artistic styles and various different ways of telling different stories. It's going to be so good. And the fact that it's anime and it's in Japanese.
Yes.
I know you're not the biggest anime fan, but for me, nothing beats hearing an anime in Japanese while reading the English subtitles. Nothing beats it when it comes to anime.
Nice. Okay, good. I'm glad you're pumped for that. I'm excited to watch it. I think I'm definitely not as excited as you.
Right.
What's interesting though is, and it says it on the poster, all episodes.
Yes.
So it's not just a weekly thing. So you don't have to wait. I mean, you could binge the entire thing that day if you wanted to.
That got me so excited when I saw that it was all episodes. I was like,
yeah. So all, I believe is 9, right? I'm sorry. It's 11.
Yeah.
9 studios, right? 11 shorts, or is it?
I believe so.
Or is it 9 shorts, 7 studios? I think it's 9 actually. 9 episodes, I think, is what it is. I don't know why I'm blanking on that, but yeah, 9 shorts, 7 anime studios. Yeah. So yeah, September 22nd, which is a week from Wednesday. 2 weeks from yesterday, right? Yeah. What's today?
2 weeks from yesterday.
2 weeks from yesterday will be all 9 shorts will be available. So the poster does highlight what seems like probably all your main characters from all the episodes. At the very top, you do see one familiar character, which is Boba Fett.
That's going to be interesting.
Yes, it is going to be very interesting. But you get this main character here, in the mask. Definitely got a lot of lightsabers around, so it is gonna be interesting. It's a new chapter in Star Wars content. I think a lot of people were, a lot of people commented on. I remember when Star Wars Resistance came out, and that was an animated, more of a digital animation and not 3D. Kind of a. So it's almost, I guess you could say, anime, but it's not. But a lot of people were taken aback by that as far as comments there. They're like, why didn't they just make it look like Rebels? And so they were trying something out there. Worked for 2 seasons. They had a short story that they wanted to say there. So anyway, this is another chapter in trying something else. And I said this on another show, I think, is that I'm actually surprised it took this long for them to try something like this out.
To me, it's a natural step to go from lightsaber fighting to anime, in the sense of, with the samurai, they had, if I'm not mistaken, there were different styles of fighting.
Yeah.
In samurai culture. And if you look at the different Jedi that fought with a lightsaber, they each have a different stance. They each have a different type of fighting. So to me, this is a natural step.
Right.
To try to take the Star Wars universe and transform it into an anime. Because there are a lot of parallels between the two.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yep.
So I know that it is definitely a risk, because it's not something a lot of people would have seen coming. But I think it's a well-educated risk. Yeah. But I guess we'll just have to wait a couple more weeks to see.
Yep. Definitely will. And we don't have to wait week after week either.
Yes.
We'll be getting bombarded with people commenting on these shorts. So September 22nd, Star Wars Visions. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about these games before as we get into our main topic here. But
Yeah.
we'll take them one at a time here. First, on the VR side, it's been reported for a while that Tales from the Galaxy's Edge, which is the VR game on the Oculus Quest and Rift. It was a game that came out. I think it came out last year, but Tales from the Galaxy's Edge is a game where you played as like a smuggler worker, and you're on the ship with a bunch of shipments above the planet Batu, and then you have to drop your shipment because you're getting invaded by pirates, and then you have to go down to the planet and kind of retrieve some stuff. Really fun game. And then there was a side mission in there where you would go play as this young Padawan back in the years of the High Republic, and Yoda's there and all this stuff. So it was really neat. Anyway, they always said that they were going to come up with an update. Well, they're coming out with an update. It actually hits the Oculus Quest next Wednesday, the 15th. And it is called Last Call. And the reason why they call it is because you walk into this cantina on Batu, and it's not Oga's cantina. It's a different cantina. It's actually, I know you've been to Galaxy's Edge, Hannah. It's crazy because in the game, so I looked for this the last time I was there this past June.
Okay.
So when you walk into where the Falcon is, right? And
yes.
You know where you walk into the line to get into the ride.
Yes.
On the left side of the Falcon.
Yes.
If you turn around and face towards that pathway in front of you that goes towards Oga's Cantina.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you look up over the Falcon to this round building that's right there. So basically the VR game takes place in the top of that building.
Son of a gun. Okay.
Yes, because you can walk over to the window and look down onto the Falcon.
What? All right.
So I paid attention and looked up there, and sure enough, there's like, some windows up there. Now, whether or not there's anything in there, I don't know. But in the game, that's where this bar is. And I can't remember the name of the bar, but you walk in there and there's a bartender back there. And if you do something for him or like collect some plates for him or something like that, then he'll tell you a story. And that story that he tells you was about this Padawan in the High Republic. And you go, as he's telling the story, you kind of go back and play the game as he's telling the story, right?
That's awesome.
So I guess this Last Call thing, I think what they've done is they added a couple more stories that you go in and you get him and then you play the stories. But you're playing, to have the article here, it's called Last Call. And like I said, it actually features new talent. It's got Hondo Anaka, which we're going to talk about in one of our Beyond the Sagas. He's voiced by Jim Cummins. And then you've got a character called Neva, and you got a stormtrooper leader, Lieutenant Gage. So you've got some new characters. And of course, you got some returning characters. R2D2, C3PO are in it again. Doc Ondor's in it again. Slizak, I think that's the name of the bartender.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, really cool. I don't think you've played any of the VR games, right? So
I need to.
Oh, it's so cool. Yeah, you need to. I think we're gonna have some of these like at the office at some point, so you can probably play it there. But but yeah, Tales from the Galaxy's Edge. Last Call comes out on Wednesday. I cannot wait. I think actually IG-88 is actually in this also. I think because I see a picture of him, and I think that in the trailer he's in IG-88's in it. So
good point. Good point.
Yeah, so good stuff there. Can't wait for that.
Yes.
Can't say it enough. It is a good system. Like a lot of people have questions about the VR gaming and stuff like that, but no, it's a really cool thing.
I haven't experienced any VR gaming experience, but I can't wait to do
So
so.
you didn't even play it at our office, and
I
someone
didn't even
else.
know it was available at our office
Oh
until we
man,
got into COVID. Like
yeah,
that was when people were like, "Oh yeah, we totally have this," and I was like, "What?
yeah.
Excuse me?"
Because we had the Vader games there, and people were playing that. So okay, well, we'll get you hooked up here.
Okay.
Okay, real quick, nothing really big on this news wise, but Lego Star Wars is coming out with a game called Lego Star Wars Battles.
That'll
It
be
is
fun.
strictly an iPhone app.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm probably not big on games like that, but I know a lot of people are. And I'm not really that big of a mobile gamer. Are you?
I mean, I'll do it when I'm like when I'm on a flight,
Yeah,
or if I'm in line for something, or if I'm in a waiting room. Sure, I'll pull up, Candy Crush or whatever.
yeah,
So for times like that, I think this is a perfect. I hope this is a perfect game to help pass the time. That's more or less of, I think, when it comes to mobile games. Sure, it can be, oh yeah, I'm playing on my phone at home, but I think a lot of the times it's to help pass the time while you're waiting for something while you're
yeah.
out of your home. So I love to see Star Wars, especially Lego Star Wars, branching out into that whole
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
realm.
Yeah. I was thinking about this whenever I saw that, and I was thinking, and my daughter, who's 11, uh, I drive her to school every morning, and she sometimes will pop her phone up and play this game. I can't remember the game, but it's an adventure game, and it's a I guess RPG, I guess is you call it, but yeah, she's a character walking around, and it kind of looks like Final Fantasy, almost like a Final
Oh,
Fantasy kind of
okay.
game. She's really into it, loves it, and I'm just thinking. I remember thinking, like, looking at that, thinking these kids have no like. When I was young, my mobile game was a Game Boy,
Yes,
right?
it was for me too. I mean, our family was a little behind in the technology. I didn't get a Game Boy until I was in middle school, but in general, it was look out the window, listen to the radio, listen to cassette tapes,
Yeah,
CDs. That was our entertainment.
and the Game Boys, were so like 16-bit, I think, and like no
Yes.
color. And now I'm looking at she's playing these high graphical games on a phone. And I'm like, man, what I would have done to grow up with that. Anyway, Star Wars Battles coming to your mobile. Don't know when, but that will be out. Star Wars Lego Battles. Go check that out as well. Okay, so um let me read some news, or let me read some of this stuff here before we get into the big thing that came out today.
Mm.
And this is just some updates on novels and comics that are coming your way. So the next novel is dropping October 12th, and that's Ronin. That's the Star Wars Visions novel.
Mm-hmm.
So remember that. November 2nd is Queen's Hope. Cannot wait for that. Yeah, and unfortunately, Hannah, I still have not seen. Usually they have a release date for the audiobook. I've not seen a release date for the audiobook.
Really?
Right. And it's funny because, when I talked to Catherine Tabor, who had narrated the previous two books, she said she had not been contacted yet. But this was like the summer. So I figured they would have gotten her by now. So I don't know. Stand by about the audiobook because that's how I read these novels and listen to these novels. So right now, there's nothing on Audible that says Queen's Hope is coming out on November 2nd.
That's weird.
Right. But it is coming out in book form. So you guys can get it on your shelves. Thrawn Ascendancy, the third book in the Ascendancy trilogy called Lesser Evil, is coming out November 16th. Of course, that's by Timothy Zahn. And then comics wise, we're still in the middle of War of the Bounty Hunters. War of the Bounty Hunters #4 just dropped yesterday.
Fabulous.
So I can't wait to read that.
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars Adventures #9 also dropped yesterday. And then, of course, the next couple weeks, you got War of the Bounty Hunters Bausch. You got Vader 16, which crossover into it. Bounty Hunter 16 and Star Wars 17 at the end of this month. That all are crossovers into this. So this is a big storyline. Hannah and I will be covering the War of the Bounty Hunters issues here on Beyond the Saga as soon as all of them are released.
Yes.
We will. I think it's 5 issues. I think it ends next month. October is the last month for the series crossover. So go check all that out. All right. So let's get into our main topic here. And our main topic is basically, I just wanted to kind of talk a little bit deeper into these Star Wars games that are coming out and get your thoughts on a lot of these things. Now, of course, the reason for this is the teaser trailer that came out today. And that was of Knights of the Old Republic, or as many of you call it, KOTOR. Now, first let's talk about the teaser itself. Obviously, no gameplay was shown in it. It was strictly a story-based, a little bit, trailer. But what was your reaction to this?
Well, first, I had to calm myself from freaking out so much because I played KOTOR on my PC. I didn't finish it, but I did start playing it on our PC, and I absolutely loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Loved the game, loved the characters. So with this trailer, here's the thing with remakes. It's either a completely different story or it's the same story with updated features. And with this trailer, while it seems to hint that it's the same thing, there are still parts of it that makes it seem very ambiguous. So I don't know if it's going to be just a genuine remake. You're playing the same game, but everything is updated. Or are you playing KOTOR, but it's a completely different storyline? Because there are 2 different versions of remakes. Resident Evil have done remakes, and it's a completely different story. Meanwhile, Dark Souls, they do a remake or a remastered version, and it's the same exact game, except the graphics are better. So there's no telling, especially with the trailer they gave. Unfortunately, there is no telling exactly what we're getting. But I am so glad that KOTOR is coming back, because that's probably one of my favorite Star Wars periods. And I just really hope that this game sparks this new revelation that we can then explore in the cinematic arena.
Yes. Good point.
What are your
well, yeah, see, it's strange because I did not play Knights of the Old Republic.
Oh.
Because I wasn't a PC gamer. And by the time it hit, the consoles, I was playing other things, and I will tell you that the one thing I really don't like about these types of games is I don't like the turn-based game.
Really?
Yeah, I can't stand not being able to fight or defend, like move, while I'm getting hit with stuff.
Okay.
I like to be able to control what I'm doing and defending what I'm doing and stuff like that, right?
Remind me to ask you how you feel about D&D later.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's why I never got into Final Fantasy either. Final Fantasy looked cool, but that's turn-based as well, right?
Right. Interesting.
So so part of me never got into it because of that. I think if it wasn't that, I would have probably played it and got into it and really, really enjoyed it. But I didn't. But I get it. It's the storyline is incredible. It's introduces Darth Revan or Revan at first, and then it's just it is an incredible storyline, and then of course it takes place in an era that we don't know about it beyond this, right? We're talking 4,000 years before episode 1. The furthest we've gone back in canon now is the High Republic, is 200 years, right? So the question, I guess, well, let's just stick with the trailer still. So the trailer it just highly talks about obviously the dark side and how there's other Sith warriors out there and stuff like that. So
very similar to the mentor you have in the game.
Right. Yes. And so just a quick recap, I guess, of the game is really the cool thing. I think a lot of people, again, I don't know specifically, but I think what I've read is that a lot of people, what they liked about it is you actually get to choose kind of your own path in this game, right? You can make decisions and that affects where you go and what you do in the game.
Essentially, throughout the game, and I mean, I can only compare it really to Mass Effect Paragon or Renegade, is that based on the choices you make will determine how many light side or dark side points you have. So you essentially get to choose what type of character you are pursuing, which is a little more based on the games I played. And once again, I'm not like a well-versed gamer. I don't even think I would call myself a gamer, but based on the video games I've seen, there's a lot of that where you get to choose what type of player you play regarding alignment. You know, are you a chaotic neutral? Are you good? Are you bad? Chaotic good, chaotic bad. So that was something that was really cool about KOTOR, is that you could choose what you wanted to do. You weren't forced down a specific path. And you were graded by what you chose and how well you performed.
Yeah.
So I think for a game like that in the time it came out, I don't think it was brand new, but it definitely wasn't mainstream, I don't think. But once again, I'm not an expert when it comes to.
Yeah.
But it was a very cool aspect of that game where you essentially choose what you do.
That's right. That's right. And it made it different at times, you know, so you weren't playing the same thing all the time. So the thing about this though is, and I want to read this line from the article that came out on StarWars.com. Now, there actually has been some questions because KOTOR is still very popular out there. The original game, they adopted it to mobile devices, right? So you can play it on your iPhone, and so a lot of people. It's still, I think, there's also, you know, there's Knights of the Old Republic, which is what this is, and then there's a game called The Old Republic.
Yes,
which is kind of a continuation, but it takes place hundreds of years after this.
Yeah,
and that actually still has updates on the PC gaming, right? So, you know, the big question that a lot of people have had is because since these take place so far in the future or so far in the past, technically, could these still be considered canon, right? Because they don't contradict anything that's happening now in the movies and the TV shows and even the High Republic. Is it possible that they bring Knights of the Old Republic and the Old Republic into the canon just as they are?
Oh, I hope so.
Well, I think this line in this article, after reading this, answers that question. And it says here towards the end of it, it says KOTOR, which is part of Legends storytelling, dials the Star Wars clock back to over 4,000 years before the Skywalker saga. So that line right there says that the previous games are legends. They're not canon, which goes to your point, Hannah, that this remake, which is canon, this remake is going to be canon.
Oh.
I think the storyline is going to change a little.
I mean, that line alone, I didn't read that line, but that line alone does lead me to believe that it is going to change in some way, whether it's a very small change or a huge change. But to me, that makes the game more exciting.
Totally. I think so too.
It's not like, oh, I'm replaying the same game, but the graphics are better. It's like,
Right.
whoa, I get to do this and this and this. So that actually brought me a lot more hope to KOTOR.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I better save my pennies for a PS5, huh?
Probably. I'll go on to read and say that it says, after it says, this is Legend Storytelling, KOTOR, which is part of Legend Storytelling, Dials of Star Wars, clock back to 4000. The Galactic Republic is at its height and has just been through a major war. Jedi are plentiful, but so are the Sith, and the evil dark Malak leads a growing legion of dark warriors. Players will go on an epic adventure and along the way visit different worlds, amass a party of memorable beings, and uncover their own mysterious past. So it does sound similar, like, because I think you play as the character Revan, right? In the game, yeah.
You do.
So I think it sounds similar, but I'm hoping. I mean, it says KOTOR, which is part of Legend storytelling. So I just hope that they don't keep this game as Legends. I hope that they say, okay, now this is the canon storyline of Knights of the Old Republic. So I hope that's what happens.
I wonder if they're going to allow you to have a little more freedom with regards to light side, dark side, and they might take away the turn play, so you might like it a little bit more.
Yes, I hope so.
I don't know, like, just hearing that, I'm like, well, that essentially summarizes KOTOR for the PC. Yeah. That summarizes the game right there. So
yeah,
I think you're right. I think there might be some slight changes, but I really hope it is canon because it's a fantastic story, full of twists and turns, and you get to determine what Revan really is at his core, or her core. Maybe they'll give you a male-female option.
Yeah, maybe. Now Revan, though, I believe, I'm trying to make sure I don't get this wrong. But Revan has been already brought into canon, the character of Revan.
I believe so.
So he was supposed to show up. He's actually physically supposed to show up in an episode of the Clone Wars.
Oh, really?
Yes. So do you remember the Mortis arc?
Yes.
So during one of those episodes, I think it was called Ghost of Mortis, he was actually going to physically appear and be canon, but that scene got deleted.
Okay.
And then so actually it says here, yeah. So Revan was slated to appear in Ghost of Mortis, an episode of the third season of the Clone Wars. Revan, who would have appeared as a Sith Lord alongside Darth Bane as advisors to the powerful Force ruler known as the Sun, but they were ultimately cut from the episode in late production. So that's when Bane was supposed to become canon, and then of course Revan. Now, it's also this says here that the character of Revan was reestablished in the current Star Wars canon continuity with a mention in the Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker visual dictionary, written by Lucasfilm Story Group member Pablo Hidalgo. The visual dictionary accompanied the film Star Wars Episode 9, Rise of Skywalker. Revan was originally introduced in Star Wars Legends continuity by BioWare. Anyway, so apparently he's what I think I read in the visual dictionary part. There's a section in the visual dictionary where it talks about all of Luke's research in those books. And apparently Revan is mentioned in those books as, old Sith or whatever. Right. So yeah. So Revan is very much canon, I believe. Now, whatever storyline happens in this game, I think is not necessarily canon yet, but hopefully this game will make it canon.
Hopefully, because as said before, it's a fantastic story.
Yeah.
It really is.
So obviously, the unfortunate thing is there's no release date yet of this thing. We haven't seen any gameplay. I think gameplay will start really blowing people away on what it looks like because obviously the graphics are going to be insane. Um, but look for that coming out. I mean, this is coming out because wasn't there like I think Sony did something today, like with gaming and stuff like that. That's why there's all these game trailers that are dropping.
Think so? I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Um, okay, so let's piggyback off that a little bit and talk about games because um, I kind of wanted to just ask you a couple throw out some topics that we can kind of hit on. So, like, I know you're not I know you just said you're not an avid, you wouldn't call yourself a gamer, but you do play games.
Yes.
You're into you're a gaming geek like all of us are. Um, but interesting to know what do you prefer? Like, what games are you a console person? Are you a tabletop person? Are you
Oh.
what games are you into most? Types of games.
Oh, that's so hard to say. I do love a good tabletop game. Are you talking about like D&D or are you talking like Monopoly game
Yeah.
top?
Well, no, more whatever you play. I mean,
I
yeah,
mean,
whatever you play.
I'm not gonna lie. I do want to create like a D&D one shot that is revolved around Star Wars. I
Wow.
do. I do want
Nice.
to do that.
Okay.
I'm sure there are some games out there that are like that. I, honestly, for me, the whole part about when it comes to something that's very similar to D&D or a tabletop game, it's important to engage with the people around the table. And unfortunately, COVID has turned that on its head.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to play a board game with people. So more recently, I've been more into uh, like PS4 gaming, PC gaming, and D&D,
Mm-hmm.
which is very virtual. And then when COVID's done, hopefully get a little more involved in board games themselves. So that's what I'm into. But I think when it comes down to the concept of a game, it's about immersing yourself in that world in one way or another.
Yes.
And if a game is able to do that, no matter what form it comes in, then it's achieved its goal.
Well, that was going to be my next kind of point was what what medium of gaming do you think is best to tell stories, especially Star Wars stories?
I honestly think it could be anything.
Really?
It just depends on the storytelling. I mean, something as simple as Star Wars Monopoly,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is a painfully long game,
It is.
but it can still tell a story. If you have a good dungeon or game master in D&D and it's Star Wars related, it
Mm-hmm.
can tell a great story if your players are involved, if your DM GM is involved.
Yeah.
With any like video game on a console or on a PC, if the story just enraptures you, if you are totally involved and immersed in this world, then it's successful. So I don't think the medium matters. Like even something simple as sabak,
Yeah. True.
medium does not matter.
Mm-hmm.
You're immediately reminded of that pastime
Yeah.
and you're immediately immersed in the game. So I don't think it matters about the medium doesn't matter. It's if you can successfully engage your players,
Mm-hmm.
whatever that looks like, then the game, no matter what medium, is successful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's interesting because I think if I were to answer that right now, I would say the VR and the console gaming is probably the way to tell the stories as best you can. I mean, obviously the tabletop, and I'm just not a mobile gamer really, but I think you can do it with mobile. But the tabletop, what I love about the tabletop stuff too, as well, is most of the time. Well, and I'm thinking more Star Wars stuff too, because there's games out there called there's tabletop games called there's one called Rebellion, Star Wars Rebellion,
Oh yeah.
and then you have your Star Wars miniatures like X-wing and stuff like that that are games. They don't really have stories, but they're strategy games, right? And that's the part I really love about
Mm.
those is the strategy side of things, right? Monopoly, yes, there's strategy there, and it's really fun, and it's a game that everybody's used to over the years. But and then when there was years where I was playing, it was called Star Wars the card game, and it was just literally one of those deck based games, and you play, and I always equated it to Star Wars chess, right? Like you had to make specific moves in order to get the best of your opponent and win the game. Now I do have Star Wars Rebellion, and occasionally we play. Now it's one of them things like I'm sure it's like some tabletop games you played where I mean it takes 3 or 4 hours to actually complete this thing, and there's a lot of strategy involved, and there's a lot of but there's a story in a sense because your goal is to in the rebellion your goal is to destroy the Death Star, right? So and then the Empire, if you're the Empire, your goal is to snuff out all the rebels and kill all the rebels, right? So there's storytelling involved. Now, I would love it even more if there was an actual unique story that was involved.
Mm.
Something that's not Death Star or Rebels related. Like, give me a story like I that I haven't seen before. Like, it could be still in the same timeline. Like, make it so make it a Rebels mission that I don't know about. Maybe they're trying to go kidnap a Imperial, admiral or something like that, and try to get a bunch of information to, whatever. Like I would love to strategize on the game like that because I really enjoy the tabletop games a lot more than I never was into them even, 5-6 years ago. Always, obviously growing up, that's all we had, right? We didn't have mobile devices to play. So we had to play Monopoly and Life and, Risk and all this stuff, right? The tabletops were great then, and it's fun because getting back into it now, I feel like they've become a little more popular again. But they're so there's so much strategy to them now that they're longer and you can get involved more and you can interact. Like you said, it's best when you're with people because you can just have a night of it, and it's really cool. So I enjoy that side of the gaming side probably more than just sitting there by myself playing a console game, right? I mean, I think a console game is great to see the graphics and the sound and the cinematic cut scenes and stuff like that. But yeah, I would actually prefer to sit with, you and other Star Wars fans and play like a big tabletop game. And like I said, I think there's storytelling that can be done there. I just want something a little more original. They just haven't done anything original yet, maybe with those tabletops. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Absolutely. And I think it's just because, with tabletops, there hasn't really been a recent tabletop Star Wars themed game that created an original storyline.
No.
It's always been based on something, which is why I bring D&D into the game because, with that, you can make it whatever you want.
Yeah.
So I think but I agree with you. The idea of something being a lot more original and like, oh, I've never experienced this before definitely helps draw you in. Mm-hmm. And, always having other people there helps because I think that's what makes any game, no matter what medium, intriguing is the strategy behind it, as you said.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, where's the challenge?
That's right.
So completely agree with you there.
Now, have you done any of these? Because I've seen people playing it. Again, I haven't done it myself, but there are Star Wars role-playing games. I don't know if you done any of those or been involved in any games like that.
Would an RP game involve like D&D or something like that?
Yeah,
I think so,
yeah.
So I've played D&D, but I haven't played a D&D with the Star Wars theme.
Well, yeah, there's and it's funny
But
because like Freddie Prinze Jr. has a YouTube channel that he
of
gets
course,
his Star Wars buddies together, like Vanessa Marshall, and I know Taylor Gray's come over, guys from Rebels, and they sit around and play the Star Wars role playing game. And I haven't done it yet. I hear it's pretty fun, but that would be interesting to try out. I think I just haven't done it yet, but
well, that's what I'm talking about when I said, I'm working on a one shot that's Star Wars themed.
it's a role
That's
playing
that's an
game.
RP game.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
essential. D&D is essentially a role
Role
playing.
playing game. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So having a Star Wars theme around it, because you can take, like the other day, one of my closest friends, she DM'd because we meet weekly to play D&D, and if someone can't make that day, then we do like a random one shot. So she did a one shot where we were all unicorns.
Okay.
But we all still had to pick a class, and then we all decided what our race was, which was Asimar, to help better solidify what our stats were and all of that. But you could easily do that with Star Wars.
Well, I mean, they have a Star Wars. I don't know if you have. So you haven't seen it or
I
checked it
haven't
out?
seen it. If there's like somebody who's already organized that,
Oh yeah,
I've
there's
not seen it yet. I was about to like build it from the ground up.
Okay, I will send you a link so you can kind of read up on this a little bit. But
That would be awesome.
they have a Star, and they have different editions or versions, I guess. Again, I haven't done it. I've never done an RP game, so I'm totally in the dark about this kind of stuff. But
You'd like it though. If you like strategy, you would definitely like.
I think I would.
Game.
Yeah, so we might have to try something like that at some point. Because I know Casey's talked about it a little bit too, trying it out. I know Cody would get involved too. So I mean, we could. So do you do RPs? Like, have you done RPs like on Zoom? Or is that?
Oh yeah,
is that what you're doing now?
That's how we do it, because we have two
Okay.
friends in, I think it's North Carolina. It might be South Carolina, but I think it's North Carolina. And then we have two other. That's one friend, and then our two other friends are in Atlanta, and we all just hop on Zoom once a week and play D&D.
Okay, so yeah, we might have to put something together here.
We could do like a special where it's a podcast on all of us playing. I mean,
yes, that's true. We could do that. That's actually a good
Casey
idea.
Casey and I have been talking about D&D, and specifically this one show that he started to get into, and I'm sort of obsessed with.
Yeah, I would say more than sort of. Yeah,
a little.
Yeah,
but we should totally do that.
Yeah, we should do that. Okay, so I'll look into that a little bit more and see what we got to do about that. But that's interesting, because I think that would be a pretty cool experience, and I don't think it's as big as obviously console games are, but
right.
I think a lot of Star Wars fans would get into that a little bit more.
I think they would, because actually RP games, specifically focusing on D&D, it's actually exploded since the pandemic hit. So true. I definitely think Star Wars fans would absolutely love entering into this realm if they haven't already.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, very interesting. So that's another thing we're going to try out then. Very cool. So
what did we get ourselves into?
I know. No, it's very exciting. Just want to talk a little bit about games. So it is exciting that Lucasfilm is definitely focusing more effort on getting more games out there, because I think that is a medium that just a lot of fans have been waiting for. I mean, all these years, like we just said, you've had KOTOR to play, but they just never, again, there's been games that have come out like Star Wars Republic Commando, and then you had Jedi Academy, and you had games that were out there, but nothing that was truly story driven, in a sense, really truly story driven, not like Jedi Fallen Order. Like, that was a game changer as far as storytelling goes.
That was amazing.
Right. And you had some of it in Battlefront. You had some of it in Squadrons. But I think, God, I think everybody's dying for this open world game. And I think with Star Wars, the open world game that's going to be coming out at some point, that is where it's going to just end a lot of people's lives because they're just going to play that. And I'm one of them. I'm going to play the hell out of that thing.
Yes.
Right? I mean,
Oh my word, I can't wait for it to come out. It's going to be so amazing.
when you talk about Star Wars, you talk about thousands and thousands of worlds.
Yes.
And in a game like that where you're able to just go to several of those worlds, it's crazy. I can't wait for that.
It's going to be Skyrim on steroids.
Exactly. Yes, it is. So hopefully we get more news from Lucasfilm as these games get closer and closer to releasing. I mean, unfortunately, probably be a year or two till we start getting a big rollout of these. Rumor is they're definitely committing more towards Jedi Fallen Order games. So we'll be getting more of that continuing story as well. So anyway, we just make more games. I just want more games. That's what I want. All right, Hannah, thank you as always for joining me.
Thank you for inviting me.
Of course. As always, everybody go to InsideTheForce.com for all of our past shows and check out us on YouTube where you can see us if you're just listening. And come back next week as we dive into more Star Wars, and be on the lookout for Beyond the Saga episodes, Council Sessions, Masters of the Order, and actually got another show that's brewing that might pop up here. I don't think I've even told you this. So I'll tell you after we stop. But Beyond the Saga with me and Hannah coming soon. Go check that out. Thanks, everybody. Take care. Hannah Burr, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend, everybody. May the Force be with you.